Hey guys, it's Drama for Life here. Today I'm back with another video. In this video we're going to be reacting to Death Battle's newest video, Homelander versus Omni-Man. Now, unlike my other videos, this one's just going to be a purely reaction video. I'm just going to react to it. I think there should be really no argument or discussion on who would win this fight. I already gave my, I already stated who was going to win in my Thor versus Vegeta video at the end of that. It's obviously Omni-Man. Anybody who's seen, what's the thing called? Invincible and The Boys, and knows about The Boys comic book and, just the show in general, and, the Invincible comic book would know that Omni-Man and Homelander, they're basically both ripoffs of Superman, and they both have the same powers. Flight, super speed, super strength, invulnerability to a certain extent, obviously, heat vision, and it's super stamina. But even though they have the same powers, Omni-Man just has it on a higher scale. Obviously not on Superman's level, but still way higher than Homelander. And one of the biggest problems for Homelander is the fact that in his comic, they try to make it more grounded and realistic, whereas Omni-Man's is still pretty much like a regular comic where it's supposed to be crazy like a comic book. So it's kind of hard to make him win when one character has to be grounded and fit in the rules of real life, and the other one doesn't have any of that limitations on them. So it's those type of characters are always going to be weaker than the other counterparts. So yeah, I think it's just pointless, but I guess it's just for entertainment. People just want to see. And personally, the reason why I watch this is I want to know more about how powerful both these characters are, because I do know a considerable amount about them both, but just not enough. So yeah, that's enough talking. Let's get into the video itself. Like I said, I'm not gonna be talking about who would win or do another thing. There's no need to debunk this video, unless it's somehow they say Omni-Man lost, which then they'll be getting flamed for that.
Well, you might be forgiven for mistaking Nolan Grayson for his classic comic inspiration. He's even got that sexy mustache that he's not afraid to hide with terrible CGI. Born on the planet Viltrum.
1,000 years old, 6'2", 250, damn. Really wants his son to think. But yeah, he's like that, but people have also suggested that him and his race are kind of like a mix of the Saiyans too, which I can definitely see that, because they're a warrior race. Because Kryptonians are not a warrior race, they were more of a, scientifically advanced race. Yes, there were some people that were more warrior-like, like Zod, but in general, they were more peaceful. Whereas Viltrumites are basically like Saiyans. So it's a good mix of like Saiyans and, Superman. So it's cool. It's like getting DC and Dragon Ball together in one.
To Earth to act as its superpowered alien defender and spread the enlightenment of his utopian homeworld.
And as his superhero alter ego Omni-Man, there was no one better suited to the task.
Yeah, this one I don't need to skip any of these backstories, because this one's more necessary since they're not very well known.
Life couldn't be better until Mark inherited his dad's Viltrumite powers. That's when Mark found out that his dad was a stinking rat bastard liar.
Turns out
He killed Abraham Lincoln.
Exactly the peaceful utopia Nolan promised.
Peaceful in the sense that they culled half their population, murdering billions with their bare hands until only the strongest were left.
I wonder why it took them so long to decide something like that.
This Viltrumite empire then went on to conquer planet after planet in their home galaxy, murdering any who dared oppose them. So just scratch that whole peaceful part entirely.
And turns out Omni-Man was here to do that same thing to Earth. Sorry, Mark. Your dad's a dick.
Even worse, he's easily the most powerful being on the entire planet.
Imagine combining the raw power of a Kryptonian and the bloodlust of a Saiyan.
Yeah. See, like I said, there's a comparison there. But yeah, they're basically that. They're like, people keep on saying like, oh, it's like if Superman just, you didn't hold back, but still, even if Superman didn't hold back, he wouldn't be as savage as that. He would need to be like a Saiyan. Like, the Saiyans are far more savage than them. Like, when the Saiyans don't hold back, it's different than like just Superman not holding back. They're like,
basically a Viltrumite.
they're legit warriors when it comes to it.
Viltrumites are composed of smart atoms that they can manipulate to achieve superhuman feats, like holding their breath for weeks on end by drawing more energy from the oxygen inside them.
It reminds me of that whole bioelectric aura thing Superman has.
I think the speed department is where it's going to be a big departure when it comes to it. I think strength also, but I think speed, especially for Omni-Man, because he went from one planet to another, which would be light years, and yeah, it took him weeks upon weeks, but that would be, I highly doubt Homelander could do that at all. I think Homelander would take like hundreds of years just to get across there. So when it comes to speed, Omni-Man should be way faster than him, and the fact that he's an actual warrior race, he would know not only would be fast enough to move at that speed, but he will know how to use that speed in combat. Whereas Homelander would not, and Homelander usually opts out for his laser beam, so he's not very great of a fighter. And on top of that, his strength, from what I heard in the comic books later on, him and two other, I think it was him, his son, and the strongest Viltrumite destroy a planet together, hitting it. From what I heard, that it was more to it than that. Like the core was destroying stuff. But even then, even if we try to lower it as much as possible and say, oh, is this or that, still destroying a planet, even with 3 people, even with all that, is far beyond anything Homelander could do. So I don't know what Homelander's gonna be. What are they gonna have to pull for him to be close?
Comic writers bullshit a sciencey explanation for his powers.
Except smart atoms make even less sense.
Yeah.
How can atomic structure be designated by your DNA? DNA is made of atoms. It's completely nonsensical biological hogwash that I cannot stand.
See, this is what I meant by in the beginning. Homelander, like I said, he's supposed to be a more grounded character. When he was trying to hold the plane in the show, I think it was also in the comic book, he said, I can't do it, I'm going to punch a hole through it and stuff, and I can't do this, and I can't land it. Personally, I still think he could have landed it with his strength. I just think that the writers weren't as intelligent to understand how he could have done that. But yeah, they're trying to go a more scientific route. Whereas in this show, you can clearly see it has comic book logic, like smart atoms. That doesn't make any sense, like he said. So they're not going to really be tied down to logic like us in the real world. So it's hard to use Homelander, who's in that type of universe, against somebody who doesn't have that. It's like using a character from a regular show versus a character from a Toon Force universe. It doesn't really compat.
Comics fans, I'm calling this debunked. Viltrumites can fly, withstand near absolute 0 temperatures, and even possess insane healing factors. Stuff like getting punched through the stomach, having your guts ripped out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. Even if, let's say, somehow magically Homelander was able to damage him, this guy can regenerate too. So it's like, that's one thing he does have that Homelander doesn't have. He has regeneration. Now I don't know if Homelander does. Actually, I think in the comics he got torn apart and he didn't have it. So yeah, these guys, they've take severe damage, and he's more consistently fighting against beings that aren't his level or stronger. Whereas Homelander only fights beings that the beings that are on his world are all weaker than him, and he rarely ever fights them. He fights regular humans and just lasers them.
Having your face smashed up in a tomato soup. I don't mean to exaggerate. What
A bitch and mustache.
in this series get fucked up and somehow survive.
However, too much trauma to the brain or heart can overtax their healing factors, and intense heat can be especially damaging.
Even the most powerful Viltrumites can be killed by extended baths in the spicy hot plasma of a star.
But Homelander could not survive even for a second there.
The vestibular system is far more sensitive than regular humans. Intense sonic pressure will disrupt their...
That might help out Homelander, but he's not smart enough. Let's be honest. He's a dipshit.
Pushing themselves to their physical limits only ends up making them way stronger. And considering Nolan has been alive and planet conquering for thousands of years, he is easily one of the toughest Viltrumites around. Like, other aliens attacking him will literally splatter their bodies against him. But Mark didn't inherit everything from his dad. Despite his alien genes, Mark was raised as a human with our weak, pathetic human values like love and compassion. Not brutally murdering the shit out of everyone you see like a maniac. Really made it difficult for Nolan to relate to his kid.
Such as when these aliens invaded Earth. Mark tried his best to minimize casualties and...
I want to see if later on if they're ever going to put Mark, invincible in one of these death battles against somebody. But just don't put him... They could make him... Probably put him against Connor Kent, Superboy. And I know some of you are going to say, well, isn't that ridiculous? Because he's a Kryptonian and stuff. But he's also a half Kryptonian only. And depending on, I think, of the earlier iterations of him, just Connor Kent, not the other Superboys, obviously, he can't even fly. So if we put that against Invincible, I think at least that would be a little bit more of a fair matchup. Because I can't really think of who else Invincible could fight from another universe that would be close enough to him. Because either the characters are going to be way too powerful for him, or they're going to be way too weak for him. Mark's powers and abilities are a little weird, unless they use, let's say, the end of Invincible series. Because I think at the end of the Invincible comic book series, he's stronger than his dad.
Daring to take Earth from him. Classic generational divide.
Annihilate is underselling it. Nolan flew so fast lit their planet's atmosphere on fire, creating massive country-sized explosions, with his own body as the projectile.
Omni-Man has flown across galaxies in only a week, survived punching a hole through a planet, and even deflected a meteor the size of Texas.
Assuming that means the diameter of the meteor is equivalent to the distance from the top of the Panhandle to the Gulf of Mexico, that would make it 1,300 kilometers wide.
And weigh over 4.6 quintillion tons, moving at re-entry speeds of over 11,000 meters per second, it'd hit with enough energy to destroy the moon.
Global power is consistent with various feats from comics, such as when Ultimate pushed a moon at high speed. See, like, that's what I'm saying. They're too ridiculously OP compared to them. Like, other comic book characters, they're kind of low level, but not too low level, but not as high as most of them. Compared to him, no.
Too bad for Nolan. It wouldn't be that easy, because he'd have to go through his son first.
Mark was horrified by his father's treachery, spurred on by the reveal that Nolan only viewed his mother as a pet, a disposable broodmare. Invincible fought Omni-Man to save the planet.
I know a lot of fans got mad about that pet comment that he made.
Get it? Training? Like the train?
Yes, we get it. It was a good pun.
That was a pretty dope scene. I loved it.
If anything, it was Omni-Man that learned a lesson about humanity that day.
He may have
I'm still gonna be skipping the fight because I really don't care about a pixelized fight. I know a lot of people like it, but personally for me, I just don't care.
Mark made his father human.
You made him cry like a little bitch. Yeah, I had to cut that out. Cut that out. It was advertisement they're doing.
$1 American conglomerate whose #1 products are the greatest superheroes on the face of the earth.
That's right. Superheroes are real and they're big.
I want to ask you guys in the comment section if you guys seen The Boys or Invincible. Which one do you guys like more? Personally, I like The Boys more. Though I do. The problem with The Boys for me, one thing is the original comic book writer, and I know the show is a little bit different, but the original comic book writer despised comic books and superheroes, which personally I think he's kind of lame for that. But he hated it, and he wanted to make it showing like, oh, if everybody had superpowers, it would be all evil, which I think both sides kind of over-exaggerate. Like, you have comic books like Marvel and DC, like, oh, if you have heroic powers, you're going to be really good and stuff, and there's either you're going to be good or evil. And then there's ones like The Boys where they're just like, everybody who has superpowers is just going to be evil. I don't think it's that realistic. That's just as dumb as the other one. I think, yes, there are people that are going to do more heinous stuff, but I still think there's going to be some people that will be very heroic. Even though I think they wouldn't be as heroic in the comics, they will still, sometimes go overboard at times. But I don't think it'll be anything to the degree that they show that. But yeah, I do like The Boys show more than Invincible. I have more enjoyment from it. But I do not like how cynical it is when it comes to the superhero and comic book aspect. I do think Invincible, even though they have a darker element, they're still not shitting on comic books. They're loving it and stuff. Whereas The Boys, they shit on comic books a lot. Except for the show, I will say, at least the show, they're a little more fair to, to comic books. They don't have as much of a hatred. It's just going off the source material, but the source material is just bashing it for no reason.
Imagine a company that possesses a monopoly on popular culture, pumping out movies, TV shows, action figures.
I love their meta jokes. They're hilarious. So clever too.
Opium with no end in sight.
Yeah, imagine.
Within Vought's pantheon of gods among men is their premier super team, the Seven, and its leader, Homelander.
There's 6 of them. I also gotta admit, I love Homelander's character. He's just so fucking. He's just so great. Obviously, there's some weird stuff about him and milk and shit. Like this guy's a little weirdo, mama's boy type of dude. But I just love him. I think he's more. I wouldn't say he's deep compared to like Omni-Man, but I find him more enjoyable and entertaining than Omni-Man, if I'm being honest.
Jesus, and most importantly, he's got the power to slaughter all of America's enemies at home and abroad. This guy probably eats freedom and shits eagles.
But Homelander's squeaky clean corporate sheen is only...
He's more sadistic than him, but he's not as
He's
powerful.
marketed as, Homelander is probably the closest thing to...
Oh, damn. I thought he'd be heavier than 165. I mean, then again, I think they're going based off his actor, who is not that heavy himself. Super able.
Lucifer on Earth.
Remember, bad
Species super able human.
Now give him superpowers and media training.
Vought's official story is that Homelander was an alien who landed here as a baby. A tale we're all familiar with.
And one that's total bullshit. Homie was made in a lab with Vought's proprietary super soldier serum, Compound V.
At least that's one thing they can say. It's not like Superman. is like, well, he wasn't actually, that origin story wasn't his.
Complete success.
He's more like
Much of
Superboy.
a success. He was murdering rooms of terrified scientists before his umbilical cord was even cut. In the comics, Vaughn had to keep a remote-controlled hydrogen bomb strapped to him at all times.
It's weird. I want to know, are they going to go from the comics or the show? Because the show isn't as far as the comics are. And the comics go different route than the show, but I don't know. Are the feats that much different? Because I don't feel like they're holding back on the show, because it was very, very well grounded when it came to the powers in the comic book already. So I don't see why they would do that for this.
As he grew up, he was subjected to psychological conditioning to make him the greatest and most profitable hero of all time.
It wasn't long before he debuted as Homelander, the ultimate defender.
That hair.
Homelander possesses massively superhuman strength, speed, and durability. He can fly at hypersonic speeds.
Oh yeah, I don't know if Omni-Man or the Viltrumites have if they have X-ray vision or the other stuff. He has more of his Superman's visual powers, but he doesn't have the regeneration. And yes, X-ray vision would be, I guess, unique. But what's the point of it? Of one, he can regenerate, and two, you're not going to be able to even punch a hole through the guy's body anyway. You're not going to be able to penetrate his skin, so it's not going to really work. And the voice thing is kind of useless.
And detect a person's emotional state from just the sound of their heartbeat.
But you know you're done for when he breaks out his heat vision, which is strong enough to slice through crowds of people or split airplanes in half.
Or screams so loud that it shatters the eardrums of anyone around him.
Those are innocent bystanders whose ears are exploding, by the way. Oh yeah, he totally botched this mission to stop a plane hijacking, so he forced each and everyone on board to die in the resulting crash so they wouldn't reveal his incompetence.
Well, Homelander may be real, but his heroism is a charade. Though he plays his part well, he cares nothing for the
Ooh.
peanuts.
Oh yeah, the new season is coming out. Sorry for pausing quite a bit. This video is very short. I want to make it a little bit longer, but the funny thing is, the new season is coming out, I think, on June 3rd, I want to say. I think it's June 3rd, so yeah. I'm gonna be watching the show. That actually, you know what? I'm gonna watch that season, and then I'm gonna give a review on it, talking about what I felt about the season and what I feel about the show as a whole, because I think it's gonna be very fun. I just can't wait.
Turns out being raised as a lab experiment doesn't create,
especially with having Jensen Ackles from Supernatural on there. I love Supernatural and Jensen Ackles.
Totally 100% healthy sexual relationship with a fellow superhero.
Because that shit was great.
Happened to be an actual Nazi. Speaking of sex, Wiz, you know how I'm always
Like I said, you can tell when somebody's gonna win in a death battle when they give one character or one person a full analysis on what they were doing. Like they give a backstory, but they also give feats in between the backstories. Whereas the other one is just pure backstory. Homelander, they gave him a couple of feats, but as a whole, it was just purely backstory. And I get it. I'm 100% saying Homelander will lose, but I think they should be a little more fair and try to give both of them as much as feats as possible. And if anybody deserves more feats, it's the weaker guy, because the weaker guy needs to have more of a reason for why they're having him in the battle. Because then people are just going to say, well, this was a mismatch. Why would they put up a guy that would get destroyed completely? They need to give more information on why, so they could give reason for that. And then at final analysis, they can give more on both of them.
We should figure out how Superman and Lois get busy.
Let me skip
Murder to smithereens. Who proved that?
Well, there's no way to sugarcoat this, considering a human's look to achieve the same within sound.
That's right. Homelander can bust a nut faster than the speed of sound. Well, good night, everybody. Ooh, kinda sucks for humanity that they made this dude the most powerful being on the planet and a psycho murderer.
That's no exaggeration. Still, will even commented that Homelander...
Okay, this is cool. I effortlessly threw a baseball into orbit. We saw Homelander Omni-Man and Mark. They were throwing a baseball around the planet, and they were catching it. Hurled a fighter jet with one hand. Impressive. Escaped C4 explosion mid detonation. Can survive any known man-made off. See, this is not even close. Like, these feats are nowhere near as impressive. The guy's dealing with shit outside of the universe and inside, on Earth and outside of Earth. This guy's just dealing with shit on Earth, which is impressive.
Megatons of TNT.
Actually, it could have exploded with twice that. But the Soviets who created it were afraid it would irreversibly alter Earth's biosphere and end the world. That's right. wheel almost died.
And that's the kind of shit Homelander can shrug off no problem. He's strong enough to throw a jet with one hand and fast enough to outspeed a C4 explosion.
Despite
Nowhere near as impressive as what.
Homelander is still surprisingly cunning and able to manipulate those around him.
It's nowhere near as impressive as what Omni-Man can do.
To piss off the world's angriest limey, Billy Butcher. Yeah, turns out forcibly fathering a bastard son with someone else's wife is not a good idea.
Of note, as unjustifiable as it is, to Homelander, this gave him something he never had before. Some small measure of control over his own life.
Being born Von Star pupil meant he was under their thumb from the day he was born. His superpowered son was the first thing that was truly his and might be his best option for...
And he's like, don't be a bitch. That shit made me laugh.
not.
He does that so much.
This is
Okay, now I'm gonna skip this part and get to the ending. Here's the weird thing, when I was skimming through this, I skimmed the fight. You guys probably didn't know too much because of the editing, but it's weird because when I was looking on YouTube like a few days ago, even prior to this coming out, because this just came out today, people were already putting the clip on how he lost and died already. So it's like, was there a leak in, Death Battle, or did they put this out themselves? Because the whole point of it, is to wait until the day comes out so you can find out who wins. But people already had the footage of it, not the whole fight, but most of it, the beginning and especially the end part of the fight itself. So it's like, did they get some leak or something happen? Or maybe they got it off of Patreon?
Christmas.
I don't think he would have even burned Homelander's Omni-Man's eyes.
Oh, Wiz, if there's a gun, it sure seems like he was working out some aggression there.
Despite Homelander's dominance within the world of...
Okay, it says right here. See, look at this. Omni-Man, 7.2 billion times faster, 60 billion times stronger, healing factor, superior flight ability, counters Omni-Man's flight. Homelander counters Omni-Man's flight by attacking equilibrium. But it's not like he would assume that would be one of his weaknesses. Slightly more variety in abilities. I wouldn't say that, to be honest. I mean, the only other abilities that he has are visual ones, which is not going to really be helpful. Has little means of killing, much less experience in taking hits. And also, he's not an experienced fighter like Omni-Man. Omni-Man's, he's a warrior, and he has combat training and fought against other countless beings of that nature, whereas Homelander's nowhere near that level. But yeah, see what I mean? This is so not even close. And they, like I said, they don't even need to give us a really in-depth reasoning why. It's blatantly obvious. He has 7.2 billion times faster than Homelander. Why the fuck are we putting up against him? And normally I would say, just because somebody is way faster than somebody else doesn't mean that that character will win unless that character doesn't have combat fighting. But in this case, it's the exact opposite. Homelander has no fighting combat abilities where Omni-Man does. So he already has that big ass gap in speed, and then he has that so he can actually use it in a fight. So it's like, he had everything there. And then 60 billion times stronger, so you're telling me he's stronger than him, he's faster than him, he's more durable than him, and he can heal. What the fuck is this guy gonna do? So it's like I said, it was blatantly obvious. I do enjoy seeing these two characters. It's very interesting, but it's like the fact that you're trying to make these guys fight each other is like, why not make Omni-Man fight somebody who's closer to his level, or Homelander fight somebody who's closer to his level? Why somebody that it would be 7.2 billion times faster and 60 billion times stronger? That's not even close.
He's a big fish in a small pond, relatively speaking. Homelander can move faster than sound, while Omni-Man can move faster than light. Homelander can survive a nuke, while Omni-Man can shatter the moon twice over.
To be fair, Homelander did have a couple of abilities Omni-Man didn't, like his heat vision.
And while filter my healing factors
I thought, okay, maybe I got it wrong, but from what I assumed, I thought Omni-Man's people did have heat vision. If not, I guess it's fine, but let's be honest, his heat vision is not like Superman's level where it's hot as the surface of the sun.
failed against continuous exposure to the heat of stars, that still took quite a bit of time. And there's no reason to think Homelander's heat vision was anywhere near that hot.
Yeah.
Hell, Nolan's tanked heat vision from the superhero Mean Supreme before, who can vaporize people in an instant.
Even if it was hot enough, Omni-Man's superior speed would cut him off before he could do any
I don't know, I think they do have
Similarly,
heat vision, I don't know.
being able to disrupt his equilibrium with his supersonic scream,
I guess so, yeah, that would be a big help.
strong enough to capitalize on it in any meaningful way.
Plus, while Homelander is situation calls for it, Omni-Man has been fighting and conquering worlds for thousands of years.
I would say the only strength he would have was the shout and his hearing stuff, but from what I heard, it doesn't completely inhabilitate them. It damages them, like it does like Superman stuff, but he has to finish them off with some ability, so he has to at least be close enough to strength to do so, which he's not.
Culture based on fighting. Homelander, on the other hand, comes from a test tube and never had to push himself as a fighter because he was always so much stronger than everyone else.
And that's the key difference between them. One is a warrior, and the other is a bully. Homelander
Yep.
was never going to give up easy, but Omni-Man's skill, power, and Viltrumite heritage earned him the win.
When it comes to Superman knockoffs, Homelander had to eat his heart out.
The winner is Omni-Man.
Yeah, that was not even close. Well, that's the end of this video. To go on my point a little more, like I said, it was a very big mismatch. I do like the characters. I do think it's interesting to see the difference between the two, but it's nowhere near close. Like the final analysis, especially, just proved this discrepancy between both their powers against each other. It's like, why? Why would you give? I feel like Homelander should. I mean, Omni-Man should have fought somebody way stronger, like from a different comic book. Obviously, not to too ridiculous of an extent, but like I would love to see more, equal matchups. And the next one is Magneto versus Tetsu from Akira. And I love that movie. Akira was a great movie. I watched it. I kind of got addicted to it after I saw that. But if we think about it, Magneto's power comes from metals. He can control only metal objects. So that's not even all, metals, because there's not every metal is magnetic. And Tetsu's one, he has psychic powers. So they might seem similar, but it's different. And I think in general power, Magneto has more power than Tetsu. From what I've seen, Tetsu can lift up giant buildings and stuff like that. But Magneto, they said that he can control the magnetic field of Jupiter, and he has the power of that, like the magnetic force of Jupiter and stuff. So he has insane power. But I would say this, when it comes to his power, Magneto has more with his ability. But Tetsu is, what's the thing called? He is more versatile with his. Because like I said, Magneto can only control metals, and only metals that are magnetic. So that would be like a couple of things, and even those couple of things would have to have some limitations. Whereas he can lift up anything. So I think it would be really, and since they have really like human-like bodies, it would really come to who would be able to get a hit. Like, let's say picking up something and just slamming on them. Magneto would need to pick up a pole and stab it right through him to kill him, and he would need to pick up rocks and crush him to death, because then he can't control the rocks. If it's just rocks, he can't do anything. Like, oh crap, he would just be crushed. But Magneto, I think he also has a force field, so that might also help out. But yeah, this fight was, like I said, it was super one-sided. I felt like they should have made a more fair fight than doing these two. It sounds good on paper, but when we think about it logically, like they're not even anywhere near close. And the Magneto versus the Tetsu fight sounds very interesting. I'll probably watch that next time. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I haven't been uploading for quite a bit. I just haven't had any inspiration on what I should be doing. I have kind of like creator's block. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to figure out what to do and stuff. I have been working on the Thor stuff. I've been getting a little lazy, I'll be honest. I haven't been doing it as much. It's just that there's so much information to do. Maybe I might do the debunking video on that like a long time in the future, maybe a couple months in the future, because there's quite a bit of work to be done, and if I'm being honest, I am getting kind of lazy when it comes to that. So yeah, sorry for not uploading for a while on my channel. It's going to be weird back and forth, but I'll try to upload as much content as I possibly can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned.